Hello everyone and now welcome to a game versus Shocker. This game taking place here on Shallow Grave, a map that I have not yet seen before. Let's go ahead and slow things down to 2x speed as Infi has spawned as the random orc player over here on the top left-hand side of your top left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Shocker has spawned as the blue undead over here on the bottom right. Farseer wolves alongside headhunters. That is going to be the case. Infi going to be moving on out, trying and experimenting with different types of strategy and play. Hey, Shocky Shocks, how you doing? Meanwhile, coming back around, we're looking at Shocker opening up, and he's going to be getting up a delayed Death Knight as he went for Crypt Fiends first here on Shallow Grave. Shallow Grave, a map that seems to have symmetry across multiple axes. So we'll see how exactly this one particular game breaks down here. Going after this 5-3-2 creep camp, it is not enough to give level 2, but well, the Death Knight and all of these units able to stay close to the Blight, able to stay relatively well healed as the Death Knight now goes after the Ogre Warrior and Forest Troll. Farseer also coming across very far, going after this rogue creep camp here. A little bit of frost armor, very difficult to try and take down as the Spirit Wolves will have to deal with the improved armor and the slower attack speed as this last Brigand will get finished off here. All right, Brigand taken down, little bit of experience denial, taking out your opponent's creep camps as Shocker finds that and, well, is relatively surprised. All right, Murloc Huntsman could get finished off over here. Death Knight now going to come around the corner. There's a little bit of down. Level 2 on the Farseer. Farseer could try and engage here once more. Going to get some damage off onto some of those skeletal minions. As skeletal minions are taken down, so will Spirit Wolves be. As the Death Knight now looks to retreat back, perhaps trying to get to level 2 for that Unholy Aura. Unholy Aura does open things up for undead as they are then suddenly able to move around the map much more quickly. Death Knight now coming in from the other side here, perhaps trying to finish off the giant sea turtle and still get a little bit of experience going after this giant sea turtle here. Are we perhaps going to be looking at a death coil here? Little bit of damage. Death Knight now trying to retreat back. Chain Lightning, who got the experience? I believe it was Infi once more, as he is now still sitting at level 2 as the Death Knight still sitting at level 1, unable and did not get the death coil off in time. All right, units are still trying to fight every which way. Units are starting to fall. More and more headhunters are going after and turning around, trying to finish off some of those skeletal warriors as well, as those are getting taken down. Death Knight needs 1 or 2 more shots. We'll be able to finish off this headhunter. 1 more shot right there. There's a shot, and there's the death coil to take it down. Now level 2 on that Death Knight, but he chased that, well, headhunter halfway across the map. Farseer sitting at level 2, going to go ahead and resummon up some Spirit Wolves. One headhunter may not be as lucky as the Death Knight. Now with that Unholy Aura should be able to close in on that distance rather easily. Now one of the Crypt Fiends was in fact an illusion, but I don't believe it will come into play. Coming back across here, Infi still being really aggressive, clearing out creep camps, should be able to get to level 2 Spirit Wolves with that critical strike and that increase in damage and hit points here momentarily. Trying to go after some of these difficult creep camps. That is a rock golem right there. And Infi's spider sense must tell him that it is absolutely safe to go after this creep camp here, as the units are going to slowly get picked apart. There goes one Ogre Warrior. There's level 3 now on that Farseer. Once those Spirit Wolves, well, going to go ahead and just resummon them now to get in that necessary damage. All right, additional critical strike damage there. Rogue Wizard casting Frost Armor, causing quite a bit of problems. The Rock Golem actually trying to go around every which way, as the Death Knight with multiple illusions right there, easily going to get cleaned up. Just an illusion, just going to be completely ignored as we go back up onto the high ground here, perhaps finishing off that Rogue Wizard first. Tauren Chieftain already out on the battlefield. Meanwhile, Death Knight with 2 claws of attacks, looking to go into, well, tier 3 already, training up a Lich. Does now throw down that slaughterhouse, so this is the exact timing that undead normally have a little bit of trouble with. It suddenly feels like you need to be a millionaire at tier 2 because you want to tech to tier 3, you want to train your ult, train your hero, you want to get a slaughterhouse, and all of that just costs a large amount of gold. Death Knight now wandering around across here. Tauren Chieftain with Endurance Aura looking to absorb and tank a little bit of that damage. Farseer are going to be playing a tempo game, trying to perhaps harass a Shocker and that Death Knight and Lich as it tries to level up. Is he going to buy some items? Potion of Lesser Invulnerability, perhaps? Scroll of Healing? Nope, just visiting the shop and going, nope, Staff of Teleportation. Instead, aggroes the creeps and now wanders away. Not quite sure what that is about. Perhaps trying to get some of those units on over here and trying to get an engagement. Farseer now going to be coming back around. And what are these units going to be doing? Tauren Chieftain is sitting at level 2. You can see Crypt Fiend's going to be joining in on the fight here. Farseer actually finds the wrong group, and now there's a major fight out across here, allowing the Death Knight to clear up the Ogre Magi. Lich is already at level 2 with 2 claws of attack, 9 and 5 before the Orb of Corruption. Tauren Chieftain could be in a little bit of trouble. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability should be used. Is it going to be used? Yes, it is going to be used in time. Healing Salve is also used. That is only 7 seconds of healing, though, as the Spirit Wolves are now trying to go after those units. Tauren Chieftain could have a very, very bad day. Death Coil, no, go. Yes, finishes off that Tauren Chieftain. Wand of the Wind not used in time. Tauren Chieftain falls at level 2. That last Crypt Fiend attack, unable to walk away fast enough. Perhaps a healing salve, but well, it looked as though this one headhunter, well, he was reporting for duty, stood there. Tauren Chieftain says, "Get out of my way, get out of my way." And nope, the headhunter just stood there and looked at him and, well, got shot in the back by a spider. Level 2 Tauren Chieftain could have perhaps, well, healed enough to make it so that that little bit of extra damage from that Crypt Fiend didn't take it down. A little bit of extra armor, a little bit of regeneration, 1 or 2 hit points could have been the difference right there, as we see a summoning of the Spirit Wolves to try and absorb a bit more damage. Infi does have, well, a lot of things going for him, but he doesn't really want a level 4 Farseer as much as he wants a level 3 Tauren Chieftain. If that Lich gets up to level 3 before the Tauren does, that would have been a big deal. You should have cycloned the Tauren Chieftain. You cannot cyclone your own units, I don't believe. So even to try and save it right there. So yeah, couldn't cyclone to save that unit at all. All right, Death Knight sitting at level 3. Lich getting very close to level 3 as well. We are looking at strength and intelligence. Lich is at plus 19 attack. Even before that Orb of Corruption, that Lich is going to become very, very deadly momentarily. As we're looking at the level 2 Tauren Chieftain, perhaps picking up some additional armor. Yep, that little bit of armor might have been enough right there as well. 1,000 hit point Tauren Chieftain. He wants to get up to level 3. Farseer should be backing away. We do see some healing wards, and we'll see whether or not, keep track whether or not those items will actually be used in combat or not. Tauren Chieftain trying to finish off the Ogre Mauler. I believe the Tauren Chieftain did not get the experience. Death Knight got a little bit more once more, as the Lich does have that Orb of Corruption, perhaps delivered by a Crypt Fiend there. All right. Lich now with plus 24 damage, nearly critical striking with every attack. Dark Ranger now going to be joining in on the battle as well, as we are going into Silence First by Shocker. Shocker with Silence First, it will be able to do a lot of plays, perhaps trying to shut down that Tauren Chieftain. Shadowhunter coming around as well, and purposely backing up, wants to give that Tauren Chieftain level 3. Infi recognizes level 3 is going to be absolutely important, as he gets Hex on the Shadowhunter to try and counteract the silence and all of the other plays on the other side as well. Whoever dives in too deep on their first hero could have a very bad day. Forest Troll High Priest giving level 3 to that Tauren Chieftain now. Alright, only major creep camp left is going to be on the bottom left-hand side. Forest Troll Berserker going to get taken out. Both sides sitting in no upkeep at this point in the stage in the game. 4-3-1 going up against 4-3-1. And both sides relatively close to each other. Are we going to see a Destroyer actually venture out a bit too far? Berserkers are there. I don't see Bloodlust. 1-0 upgrades going up against 1-0. Tauren Chieftain going to try and lead the charge here. Perhaps get some damage across some of these units. And now, well, there in comes a little bit of poke. Tauren Chieftain now trying to make its way back over, trying to take down a Crypt Fiend, unable to do exactly that, and now may end up being overexposed as he's no longer moving as quickly as, well, in his younger days. Tauren Chieftain going to try to line up the attack. There's a silence going down on the Tauren Chieftain already. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability There's a Cyclone, and there's a Stomp trying to finish off some of those units as well. Farseer going after some of the units off to the north here as the Torrent Chieftain continuing this engagement in the back line. Kodo Beast could have a very, very bad day. There goes a Stomp, but Infi going to end up losing. No, doesn't lose that Kodo Beast down to 33 hit points and somehow stays alive. A quick Hex right there. Farseer needs to try and heal up this Kodo Beast once more if it's able to, as we see a Death Coil, a split second in time. Potion of Invulnerability transferred. Silence now, or the Dark Ranger able to cast Silence once more as we see some heals in the background here from that healing ward. More engagement, another Death Coil coming across as well. Some big heals indeed. Torrent Chieftain down to 300 hit points. No longer having any big healing items as the Torrent Chieftain getting transferred away. Are we going to see, yes, one destroyer, one Obsidian statue getting taken down there. The healing wards were used rather effectively. 47 supply compared to 50-50. Infi with a slight advantage now as he's training up an additional Kodo Beast as well to replace the one that was lost. Lost Kodo Beast could spell trouble. Shocker also with level 2 on that Dark Ranger. 2-0 upgrades going up against 2-1 upgrades. Each upgrade representing 10% more effective hit points or 10% more effective damage as the Forest Trolls and the Renegade Wizard creep camps get cleared up. Now, as the Death Knight clears up, gets another big item, a Sobi mask on that Death Knight. That could spell some certain problems as well. As we're looking at still that Lich with 700 hit points, strength and intelligence. Some big items there, making sure that that Lich was able to stay alive. That additional bit of 125 hit points, making a very big deal in those close calls earlier. Torrent Chieftain now heading back off to the north here. Shadowhunter still sitting at level 1. 50 supply army compared to 50 supply. No one trying to set up an... Well, no, I take it back. Shocker now trying to set up his expansion first. Shadowhunter gets up to level 2, and Shocker now goes into low upkeep as we see Healing Wave bouncing around onto some of these lower hit point units. All of the creep camps have been cleared up. Shocker sitting on a 50 supply army compared to 44. Infi also now in, well, that weird low upkeep, uncomfortable situation as we are looking at about 7 minutes of mining left from the main bases. As we have 7 minutes of mining left, Torrent Chieftain perhaps lining up to get a stomp down. This could be absolutely key and monumental if he's able to start off the battle with a big presence. Torrent Chieftain trying to line things up here. Invisibility not coming to an end. Farseer now trying to come back the other way, and Shocker must realize that something is not quite right, as we're going to look at a stomp right there coming across multiple units. All right, there goes some damage. There's Death Coil trying to save up some of those units. Torrent Chieftain still in that front line spot, has a potion of invulnerability, could throw down another stomp here in just a moment as we're looking at some of those stomps, well, finishing off many of those backline units. Crypt Fiend taking a little bit of damage. Is it going to get taken down? Destroyer gets taken down instead, as we see Chain Lightning still bouncing back around there. There goes another Crypt Fiend. Torrent Chieftain currently silenced. Doesn't have the mana for a stomp anyways, as the Lich is sitting at level 4. Damage going across multiple sides here. Shadowhunter falls at level 2. Chain Lightning trying to bounce around, trying to finish off some more units as the Death Coils saving the Dark Ranger there. Torrent Chieftain trying to line up a little bit more attacks as the head or the Obsidian statue trying to get away. There comes in another stomp there. Level 4 now on the Torrent Chieftain. Death Knight with another Death Coil saving the Dark Ranger. Kodo Beast going to get taken down, refunding a Crypt Fiend here, and there you are now webbing down that Wind Rider again. Lich going to be in a little bit of trouble. There's another Death Coil, and Death Coils for days as the Death Knight with Sobi Mask able to Death Coil multiple heroes and get them back up the floor. Sobi Mask can't do everything, especially if you no longer have the Obsidian statue as the Death Knight. Well, now currently low on mana. I take it back. Has enough for another Death Coil here in just a moment. We're going to see another Death Coil once more, and that must be, 1,600 hit points that were healed, maybe even 2,000 worth of hit points as a Scroll of Town Portal now transferred. And after all of that, Shocker able to escape with minimal losses. Shocker's expansion is already up and operational. He has the economic advantage. He doesn't lose nearly as much here in this last fight and was able to save this low hit point Obsidian statue. Obsidian statues now making their way back over, but now level 3 Shadow Wolves will be making their way across and finding Shocker's expansion. All right, these acolytes could get taken down quickly. There goes one, trying to finish off the remaining two as the Ziggurats, well, there's a quick resummon right there as now, well, Infi realizes the trouble he is in. He needs to put pressure onto that, let that expansion stay up and operational. And now, with that said, a Tomb of Relics in addition to a Nerubian Tower right here, as the Wolves are going to try and dive on inside. All right, there's a little bit of damage onto some of those units in the back. Are we going to perhaps get some Devour Magic? No, trying to look at after all of those units there. No Devour Magic, just trying to see what damage can be done as an expansion. Nope, not an expansion, just long-distance mining now getting underway. All right, long-distance mining, a Farseer now with a tiny Great Hall, sitting at 43 supply. This expansion will be up and operational in just a moment here. And once that is operational, perhaps setting up some additional towers is going to be necessary. 58 supply compared to 43. As well, we are now well underway. Death Knight, Lich, Dark Ranger, 543, Crypt Fiends, Shadow Wolves trying to, well, sneak on inside once more. Keep track of anything on the inside here, as the Spirit Wolves are perhaps going to try to get into position, perhaps try and, well, sneak on through, but there is just no easy way trying to get in there at all. Expansion is currently up with a watchtower, a fortified watchtower, now being established as well. Meanwhile, the Shadow Wolves trying to, well, perhaps cause a little bit of problems there, get some damage as the Destroyers do a blind Devour Magic onto those Wolves and, well, end up just a little bit short. 18 minutes into this matchup, and it looks like, well, we are going into round 2 of a fight. Both sides now having an expansion established, and now is both operational. Shocker, however, with the larger army, and now trying to find any bit of experience or gold that is still out on the map and available. Death Knight picks up some sentry wards, and those sentry wards could be pivotal, as we've seen the Tauren Chieftain and now even the Farseer try and use invisibility for some shenanigans. 2 minutes of mining are left here. Death Knight now going to go after the burrows here. Going to try and engage 51, 55 supply as Infi. Is he going to try and retreat back here? Farseer now bringing back a couple of wolves. Perhaps going to try and put some pressure here, but that's not going to be really all that much, as the Berserkers, Tauren Chieftain, now trying to engage here. Trying to fight inside a base. Always a little bit difficult. Death Coil onto that Tauren Chieftain as it retreats back. Death Knight still with plenty of mana, Potion of Mana, and a Sobi Mask with 2 Obsidian statues in the back. Destroyers getting healed back up with that 600 hit point heal. Dark Ranger continuing to battle it up here. Berserkers trying to line things up. 3-0 upgrades going up against 2-1. So overall about the same, as the Burrows could end up getting taken down. Tauren Chieftain now throws in a stomp here. Has Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Kodo Beast unable to get anything in its belly as the units are trying to retreat all the way back. Shocker has boxed himself into a corner and now trying to hold on as the Tauren Chieftain is down to 254 hit points. Continuing this fight. More damage coming on through. Scroll of Town Portal coming back the other way. Another Obsidian statue as a Shocker, well, overcommits into a fight and now falls behind 53 supply compared to 46. Shocker a little bit worse for wear right there. Hey AJK. Thank you. Death Knight, Lich, Dark Ranger making their ways out once again. 55 supply compared to 47. Wolves now making another move. There is a shade nearby to try and keep track of any of those wolves as well. And well, things can go sideways rather quickly. 39 supply. We're going to be looking at a little bit of damage. There's that sentry ward, and it will quickly reveal those shadow wolves once again. All right, turning back around, there's a little bit of damage to be had. Expansion, well, main base, that is a lot of Berserkers and damage. Death Coil, Frost Nova finding that Forest Troll Berserker right there. All right, Lich getting very close to level 5. Level 3 Frost Nova could spell certain doom, as we're looking at the Shadow Wolf right there. One more shot would have been enough, but unable to spot it any longer. Not quite sure. Well, Shade no longer within sight range there. All right, picking up another scroll of healing, perhaps going to give it to the Lich. Dark Ranger doesn't have that many items, still wandering around again. All right, apparently a little bit of a lag spike for Infi. They're ready once more, but nope, you test ping with signals? Okay. Okay. Players playing well together. Level 5, level 4, level 3. Going up against level 5, level 4, soon to be level 3. We are looking at a Goblin Shredder joining in for Shocker, as Lumber could potentially be an issue. And now we're actually looking to establish up this top right-hand side of the map base, which is a bit far out of the way. Sentry Ward also keeping track of things inside here. Infi being forced to rebuild and trying to get a little bit of infrastructure back as well. Meanwhile, Acolytes could be mining or should be mining gold here momentarily, but there is a Spirit Wolf ready to, well, pounce on this opportunity as Shocker needs to get a little bit more gold before he tries to set up this haunted gold mine. All right, there is that Shadow Wolf right there, gonna finally reveal that, hey, I see you suddenly. And now, well, perhaps trying to set up this expansion. Nope, no expansions set up yet still. All right. 62 supplies. Acolytes are all hiding across over here. And now Infi has no information on what's happening on the top right-hand side of the map. Perhaps this is all just one giant head fake by Shocker to make Infi think that there's an expansion there and to try and draw him out into that location. Infi, well, a fan of the Witch Doctor and those wards, going to be placing them all across the map and then basically be playing a game with maximum insight, knowing where exactly his opponent is pretty much at all times. Army of Infi now sitting at 3-1, going up against 2-2. This army of berserkers, very high damage indeed, and there are no abominations. This is actually a little, or actually there's one abomination, simply not enough here. You want abominations because they do that normal damage, but just as important, they're able to use Disease Cloud. Whenever your opponent goes for a quote-unquote wide army, and what I mean by wide is armies that have consist of smaller supply units. So instead of, say, an army of Taurens, where you maybe have 4 Taurens out on the field, you see an army of 10 berserkers. If you're able to spread out Disease Cloud across multiple units like that, you're essentially dealing large bouts of damage to that army, and then it's going to eventually take its toll. Acolyte off over here, still not setting up any sort of expansion, trying to finish off some of those units. There goes that watchtower. It's now going to be in trouble here as we're looking at, well, this has all been taken down. All right, trying to take down some of these orc bros. Are going to be going into an engagement. Only one abomination to try and deal some normal damage to this massive army of berserkers. 57 supply compared to 60 as the peons now make their way down. Don't eat salt. Okay. And is your sister okay? Okay, you need to get her up. Okay. Check messages on Discord or Twitch and let me know. All right, I will, SPX, AJK, I will let you know. Coming back down here, there is an expansion already set up by Infi. Infi perhaps thinking that Shocker set up an expansion, and now is this going to give Shocker time to build and push with a rather large army indeed, going after first a relatively weak Voodoo, relatively low hit point Voodoo Lounge, trying to finish off more of these units here, taking down some of these barracks. There is some more, well, Dark Rituals to be able to top out that Lich. Lich is now getting close, or will get closer to maxed out mana. We are looking at level 2 Black Arrows, so those dark minions do have more hit points than normal. Berserkers with level 2 Endurance Aura, and with that Berserker Rage can have a fast or an average attack speed, which then becomes very, very scary, especially against destroyers who try to get that much closer. All right, here we are. Where are we going? Triple destroyers in the air. Major battle coming up. It may come down to Lich and Frost Nova trying to add up damage once more. Abomination does not have Disease Cloud. Shield, well, in comes a little bit of damage right there. Wow, Shadow Wolf down to 5 hit points in pretty much an instant, getting taken out once more. All right, Lich ready to line things up. or are we trying to get into a battle? A little bit of a standoff here on both sides as a haunted gold mine now starting to get established here, but we already have an operational Great Hall because of that pocket Great Hall coming in there. A big Frost Nova right there, but turns around and we see a Hex in return as the Dark Ranger was trying to line things up. All right, if the Lich and that Death Knight are just able to continually get Frost Nova Death Coils off onto those units, things can go sideways very quickly. We can also see that Sentry Ward there keeping track of the Shade, and the Shade able to see the Sentry Ward, both sides not wanting to reveal themselves far too much. All right, things are rotating back off to the north here, trying to go after the Orc Burrow. Orc Burrows do represent some amount of experience as the units are now trying to retreat back once again. There is a purge onto the Abomination. Abomination does have Disease Cloud. There's a little bit of damage there. There's a silence, but that was a split second. Shocker loses his one unit, and now Disease Cloud could perhaps spread across and deal some additional damage here. Disease Cloud leaving behind a little bit of a gift to the Berserkers, as the Berserkers, with their improved regeneration, will only be able to stay about even. Both sides continuing the fight. 78 supply compared to 80. The Frostworm trying to get in a little bit of bonus damage here. This is a lot of just hero nuking, or hero nukes, not even hero nuking, hero nukes onto this Berserker army, as they only have 475 hit points each. Death Coil Frost Nova pretty much takes them down instantaneously, as the Lich could be in a little bit of trouble. What is it doing right there? Getting purged. There's the Death Coil for the save. There's another quick Hex. The Destroyers could turn around, try and get a Devour Magic. There's a Potion of Invulnerability, and, well, is it going to save the Lich in time? Yes, it does. Lich is saved temporarily. Death Knight needs to get a Death Coil off onto that Lich, able to save back up. It was below 25 hit points, as it's now turning Chieftain in that frontline spot. Healing Wave. There in comes another stomp as the Berserkers are trying to rack up that damage. Death Knight could be, or Torn Chieftain could be in trouble, down to 63 hit points. Potion of Healing was not used in time. Perhaps just too much of a cooldown, as the Lich could be in a little bit of trouble, down to 800 hit points. There's another Death Coil for another save, as both sides are still fighting their way through. Obsidian Statues trying to back away, trying to prepare even more mana, as the Lich is low on mana, wants to get off a Dark Ritual, finishes off more units again and again. There's another Dark Ritual right there, back up to 125 mana. Should be able to launch another Frost Nova here in just a moment, and this is starting to go in Shocker's way. 78 supply, or 75 supply compared to 61. More damage, another Frost Nova going down. A lot of low hit point units, as the Shadow Hunter has fallen at level 3. Farseer. Well, where is the Farseer? Farseer is still fighting around down here to the south here, as we're still looking at both sides fighting back across level 5, level 4, as the Death Knight, Lich, and Dark Ranger seemingly able to, well, hold their own. We are now looking at healing wards being placed down as well. So master training on the Berserkers. They're able to heal back up, getting in some big damage. And suddenly, it looks as though Shocker is the one on the run, as he's going to lose a Crypt Fiend right there. Torn Chieftain down to 110 hit points, down to 5 hit points. That 0 bit of armor, but the healing ward, is it going to be enough right there? There's even a Berserker who almost got in his way as he was trying to retreat back out. Now, Witch Doctor is low on mana. That Witch Doctor healing ward does take quite a bit of mana. Tauren Chieftain needs to heal back up. He is, well, 55 hit points, extremely low. Healing Salve should be going down onto that Tauren Chieftain alongside a Clarity Potion, perhaps a little bit more healing on that Shadow Hunter too. 60 supply compared to 52. Infi having a large bank. Meanwhile, Shocker having a slight supply advantage, but that should quickly be neutralized once Infi spends all of his gold here. And perhaps trying to get more Witch Doctors or additional units out onto the battlefield, perhaps picking up some potions of invulnerability and trying to just restock up. Death Knight sitting at level 5, getting very close to level 6. Dark Ranger could get to level 5. Level 3 Black Arrow could make a big difference here, as the Lich, would it go for level 2 Dark Ritual over Death and Decay? That's the question, as at level 2 Dark Ritual, you get a lot more mana from your Dark Ritual, and you're able to, well, just constantly take out your, just constantly launch out those Frost Novas with the support of those Obsidian Statues. All right, Shallow Grave here, turning out to be a very long, drawn-out fight. Expansions are nearly done, so it will be coming down to that final base here in just a moment. All right. Lich applying Frost Nova all over the place. Sentry wards trying to be placed down by that Witch Doctor. Well, more Dark Ritual right there as that Lich, able to finish off units very, very quickly and easily. Is Shocker going to be able to, finish things off very fast? You can see a little bit of damage here. Destroyer, Devouring Magic, and in we go into an engagement here. Both sides trying to get into the proper position. Tauren Chieftain comes in with a giant stomp here. Healing Wave, trying to save that Tauren Chieftain as the Tauren Chieftain leads the charge here. Ensnare, and now onto the Death Knight. Finally, Ensnares go down. Tauren Chieftain finds a stomp. Gonna go ahead and take down another Crypt Fiend here. Level 6 now on the Death Knight. Level 6 Death. We have Animate Dead. Shocker, is he going to try and use Animate Dead here to turn the tide here as, we see a Hex now go down onto the Death Knight. Death Knight continuing the fight. There's a Death Coil trying to finish off the Tauren Chieftain. Tauren Chieftain able to double back around, still fighting its way through as the Kodo Beast going to eat up the Crypt Fiend. More units are just falling left and right here. Crypt Fiends falling. Chain Lightning Lucky bounce onto another as we see Animate Dead, and the Animate Dead may be able to turn the tides here as Crypt Fiends and Raiders show up onto the fight for additional bit of DPS. 57 supply compared to 50, but these additional Animate Dead units are just going to be racking up more and more damage as we see two Berserkers getting taken down right there. There's another Death Coil finishing off another 47 supply compared to 57. The Animate Dead units making such a dramatic difference. Perhaps should try and take down some of these burrows and some of these other buildings while they still have the chance here, as the Animate Dead doesn't last that long. All right, trying to finish off more of these remaining units, but Infi looks as though the tipping point has been reached. Shocker now sitting at 62 supply. In comes another battle here. There's Death Coil, Frost Nova, Lich trying to finish off the Tauren Chieftain. Tauren Chieftain still gets in the stomp. Death Knight coming back around. Sobi Mask on the Death Knight. Death Knight may be able to get off a Death Coil, trying to finish things off. One more shot should do it, and the Tauren Chieftain goes down, giving level 6 to the Lich. Lich trying to retreat back. Lich, what is he going to go for? Level 2 Dark Ritual, trying to finish things off even more here as we are looking at a Destroyer about to get taken down. Destroyer still gets taken down, but still the army size 57 compared to 46. Both sides fighting their way through. Kodo Beast trying to finish digesting one of those Crypt Fiends. There goes another Ensnare. Is it going to be enough? Tauren Chieftain is gone, but is he missed enough here as the Lich still trying to fight his way through? Plus 24 damage, trying to finish off the Shadow Hunter. Shadow Hunter able to escape at 193 hit points as the Death Knight just didn't have enough mana or was just on cooldown. Trying to finish things off. Frostworm now shows up onto the battlefield here as a Kodo Beast could end up getting taken down. This could be one more final shot there. Could we see a Dark Ritual off onto that Skeletal Minion? No, we do not, at least not yet, as the units are still trying to fight their way through, and Infi does in fact give the GG after a 30-minute marathon game between Shocker and Infi. Infi randomly choosing Orc on Shallow Grave. Beautiful game going back and forth, trying to find the proper timing, the proper opening to take out your opponent, and choosing your engagements wisely. Shocker shocking me using that Animate Dead and being able to suddenly have a massive presence with that Death Knight. In that situation, I 100% agree with Shocker choosing Animate Dead. He had Obsidian statues, he had the Sobi Mask, so mana was never really that big of an issue for him. As if you don't have that Sobi Mask and you don't have you don't have the Sobi Mask and you don't have those statues, you often want to save your 125 mana for Death Coils instead. It felt like Shocker actually had a little bit of a surplus of mana and was able to rebound after hitting that tipping point and trying to win things back over. Let me know what you guys think about this game in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.